Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sunesha, and we are creating a map for city skylines. So today we're gonna go make a shoreline with very steep hillsides. That probably will look a little bit natural. And after all, while I'm being away for a while here, it's because I lost all my work, and I lost like 50 hours of work in a save conundrum. It was me, an SSG, and a new Windows install, and it went horrible, so I lost all my things here. As you can see, I've actually worked a bit on this area to make it a little bit better here, as you remember, so I'm just flying over here to show you. So, yeah, it's actually quite beautiful, if I have to say so. I think we have succeeded with this part, and it's time for us to actually look at other parts. So this will be a little bit longer video than usual, because I want to warm up myself into City Skylines map creation again. So what we're gonna do today is to work on this side. So let's remove the fog so we get a clear picture of what we have working with. This looks not very natural at all. It looks like someone has just carved it out of the landscape, which is exactly what happened. So yes, so as you can see here, I worked with the hillsides here. We have just to explain my faults here, I've already painted in that it will be higher here, and it will go there, and then it will follow all the way over here. But the thing is that this thing, the only time I've seen this happen in real life or on documentaries, you can get these very steep hillsides if the hillside go out in the ocean, because the ocean will erode the cliffside, and it will leave that it falls off, which will leave this steep side. But at this happening at the same time all the way, it doesn't really look natural. But it doesn't mean that we can have places where it's very steep, but I want to look natural. You can see also these kind of things happening in volcanoes and stuff, because the earth erodes completely away and just disappear. You get these steep lines too. So yeah, it looks like a natural disaster, but this is not natural. Okay, enough talking about that, but what we want to start to do here is to even these hills out a bit. We want them to be steep, and we want them to be a part of the landscape, which I have this ridge here. So I think the best way to go about this is to find a good height here. Let's start over here in the middle, because this is quite a good example of doing this, because this is the most plain feature I have. We already have some stuff going on there with a different ridge of the side here, but now we have to create some more natural fractal looking thing, so it looks like nature. So what I want to do is level 2, brush size is good, and then I want to click on that. Let's see, we have the main light height here is 169. We want to be a little bit below that, and then we will start painting this in slowly. It looks kind of awful before we are done with this, but yeah. And I will leave that one there. It doesn't really matter if it's perfectly, that's just good. We don't want to create a uniform look here, because it will... so already we have filled that in a bit. That kind of looks cliffy, but it already, if we compare just by adding a little bit of that, it already looks a lot more natural. Look at that side, it looks better if we compare it to that side. I think for this video we'll do a lot of off-screen work here, but let's leave this place here untouched, so we can see the difference on what we are creating. So good, we have created some hillsides, that's very nice. Let's ignore the sand here. Okay, so now we have an interesting choice to make here, because as long as the hillside has not gone into the ocean, it means like over time it will erode from rainwater and other things. That means that it will actually create hollows here, and even hollows in the hill. And I think we have a very natural candidate for just that here. So if we click here, and hollow that thing out a bit, we will get a natural thing there. And then we can just hollow it out a bit like this. And work with it just to not make it too uniform there. I will add this ridge here a bit. So it looks like it has a rain down there, and we, by using soften smoothing tool, or soften, whatever we want to call it, you can kind of make it better here. So it looks like it's actually the water has poured down there, and as you can see, this leads to a very natural hill formation there, which is not in the same height, but we can see how it has hollowed it out, and this already looks more interesting. However, we want to have a little bit hillsides here, so we don't get a too uniform look here. So we could go with actually going a little bit higher. Let's go 180. So it's a little bit higher, and then we will just click in some height here and extend, kind of create a small hill, because usually it's not just flat on top, it actually creates a hill there, because yeah, it looks better. So we will create a hill slowly and steady. I think actually we'll want to go with a bigger brush here, so we can make changes a little bit quicker. We want to we want this side to be a little bit hillier, so we get a nice thing. Now it's gonna look like dumped down, and like now we know where the water has kind of filled in. We can kind of play around with that a bit to make it look natural. So yeah, we will raise the ridges there, so that we can see how the water has flown down their hill and eroded the side of the cliff from that side, which will create this monstrosity. Let's smoothen this out a bit, pull this out. That kind of looks good. It's not completely flat any longer. If we compare it to our untouched side, it looks kind of like that. And it starts to look very natural here. It's a very subtle changes. I think we want to play around more with the shoreline here. So what we can do is we could use smoothing tool to pull the whole thing out a bit, like this. Here and there, which will, and then we can actually dig a hole here by just eroding this side a bit. That looks a little bit unnatural, and then so let's take a look at how far we came here. It already looks a little bit better here. I think I want to raise that hill even more for more effect, because it looks kind of uniform in height if we look from here. So yeah, we have to think here in 3 dimensions, so we get it interesting here. So let's just go click there. I will go with 70, click there, and about 200. And we will just smooth it in here, and I will make it a little bit interesting here. So we get a natural peak here. Okay, cool. And so let's smoothen this out so it's not that. Okay, we want a bigger brush here so we affect a bigger area, so we're really smoothing it. Yeah, because it should look like a hillside, not a mountain. So we just go with a very big, smooth, big brush here, so we affect it very much, so we get a very nice slope. And look at that. That kind of looks interesting. And the textures have stretched a bit, but it has created a very interesting a suicide hill there. If you want to go suicide, the Sims can jump out there and suicide. This is how this gives me, that's how we kind of shape things. This of course led me to new ideas. You kind of like think how water has gone through here. So if I go with 50, grab that value, I will lower this one a bit here and here for some extra effect. And we can get a nice, what's kind of happened with hills there, so we can get a nice different look there. And as you can see, we already created quite an interesting thing here. So let's continue with this side here. Let's try not to be too creative here, because otherwise it will not work in the long run. Otherwise, yeah, it will not work, because the reason for that is if you get too much changes, if you get too many unique features, they will not be unique, because there are just hundreds of unique features and they don't stand out here. So I'm just working with the smooth tool here. I think we have to work with the shoreline a bit more, down the shoreline, the waterline here a bit, but I think I'm just digging here a bit with the smoothing tool, just to create some distortions. But it's still, what I'm talking about is still a very steep hillside, even that we have sloped it out, but now it looks a lot more organic, which I prefer, because if you compare it to our starting things here, this kind of blends in very nicely, even from far away. It creates a good, yeah, this creates a nice illusion here. Okay, so we probably want to go in and dig a bit. We want to create one way to fastly create a hillside that is steep. I think we want to steepen that one out. So let's dig inside here a bit like this. We can dig, and yeah, let's click there a little bit. That will do it. And then we can, I want a ridge there, and then smooth it out. So let's just work with this area a bit here. I want to pull that things out. Let's be creative. Where has the water gone? It's always a good exercise. Let's just pull that thing in there and let the water go there. And it's not exactly like that, but it's a good way to try to make it look natural by trying to guess where would the water go over time. So let's see here. This also creates a uniform, if you see this from this side, it also creates like it's part of the mountain ridge there, and it has been there around for a while. Okay, so what I'm seeing here is, what do I don't like here? I want to smoothen this thing out a bit more. Let's pull a little bit like this. So yeah, so just by placing and moving around a bit, you kind of can work with the whole area here. The suicide clip, I think I want to, I really like that feature. It was made by accident, but I really liked it. So let's level this out and make it more prominent. And it is kind of like, it will stick out here like a cliff. And let's see here. Oh, sorry. So we have our suicide clip. That's really cool. It's just kind of sticking out here, yeah, but it doesn't really look natural, does it? I think we have to smooth it a bit, because yeah, it kind of looks like, okay, it can't be a suicide clip like I wanted. It will be a suicide clip. Okay. So let's take a good look what we have created. In this short while, we have created a steep hillside that looks kind of natural from far away too. Sometimes it helps, as I usually say, to actually zoom out a bit to get a better look at things. And what I feel like with the cliffside here is that we need to extend it a bit into the mainline area here. We make these hills more prominent to sell off this cliff here. So let's just paint it in. Paint. So we get a little bit more. It doesn't really matter if it's not perfectly. It is after all stupid hillside. So let's add some there just to make some. Because we have the line here where the main line go up here, so let's try to follow that a bit. I want to go with a bigger brush to finish that off. Sorry, let's extend, and yeah, let's not touch that yet. We have the water going there. You can go like that. And this is not, we're talking about 9 and 10 difference, so it still means that you can build your small towns and stuff here without problems. It will just be a little bit bumpy, but I think we want to smooth the edges out here a bit. We can see them here. It doesn't really look supernatural there. I want to extend those, so one way to extend them is to smooth them out with a big brush. So let's go 150 and try to extend those ones. Extend. Yeah, so I lost all. I have more or less made this whole part of the island with the beaches and everything, and I lost it. So yeah, I lost it. I lost my feelings for doing Skylines. It took me about 2 months to get over my loss and start working on this again. And it probably will not look the same, but that doesn't mean that it is worse than the version I had before. But yeah, that's how it is. Okay, cool. So let's take a good look. That looks a lot better. Look. It looks awesome, if I have to say so myself. The only thing that we really need to work on here is to extend the beaches here below the cliffs to sell off the depth here. I'm thinking there is 90, which is my water shoreline, and it's 85, so it's only 5 units below surface here. So to sell off is, we can do it fastly and the video there. So let's go with a small brush. The smallest one you can have is 51. Let's higher the. Okay, so we want to go with 75. That would add. Let's go with 70. And we will start pulling in these beaches along here, following the shoreline here. So we get, it looks weird, really weird when you look from this view here. Let's see. You can see that we are digging deep, around 20 units into the shoreline. So let's click here, clear. So now when we have done that, we can go with a bigger brush and just fill it in. Okay, that was, let's go with a no edges brush, and we will just erase everything. And it is actually, as you can see, I have not worked with the shorelines here, but I just want to finish the video how it's supposed to look. So let's see here. So now you can see the shoreline here. We still have beaches showing is that the beaches, or is I think you just have the speed problem here. I removed a lot of materials here, so it takes a while for the water to fill in. But as you can see now, we have a nice shoreline that is still following the general shape of my island, but still doesn't look like a steep cliff as we have over here. The steep cliff over here is super boring, but if you compare it to this one, it looks a lot more interesting. So, we could... Oh, I see now the water falling in. I feel like I want to pull out here and there. So, yeah, it's a never-ending touch-up. You kind of start with the idea. But yes, how I came up with these hills is quite easily. I just watched a lot of hills. Every time I saw a hill on the TV or a documentary on the TV, and there was hills nice, and I just tried to look at them over and over again until I... So yeah, I'm just adding some features there. So this is not the most exciting feature here. It will not be very prominent on the level, but I think people will really like that. Instead of a very lazily done carved out of the view, but this we have something interesting here. So that was everything for this video, and as always, thank you for watching.